All right, hello and welcome to the San Jose State Weekly Football Press Conference. Spartans are 3-2 following their win over New Mexico last Friday, and will head out on the road to take on the Nevada Wolfpack. Saturday, the 12th of October, is the game, and it's at 1 o'clock to kick off. AT&T Sportsnet will have the coverage on TV. We'll have the pregame show on 9:10 a.m. Real Talk and the Spartan Radio Network beginning at 12:30 Pacific Time. Before we bring up Coach Brennan, a couple of notes to pass along. Josh Love, for the second time this year, Mountain West Conference Offensive Player of the Week. 24 of 36 for 405 yards passing and a pair of touchdowns for Love. But that wasn't it for the Spartans. They also had their first Special Teams Player of the Week in the Mountain West Conference, Matt Mercurio. His accolades for 4 field goals in the game, including a long 49-yarder, which was a career high for him. So 2 Players of the Week in the Mountain West Conference as we welcome in San Jose State head coach Brent Brennan.
Hello, thank you for coming. Really excited for Josh and Merck. That is a incredible honor from the conference. There's been lots of games here where we haven't really had anybody in consideration for that, and to have 2 guys on our team get recognized that way is really special. I think that's just really something that we have to be excited about here. I told Lawrence, I think you could make a case for Rico Tolfree with, I think he had 6 or 7 tackles, a forced fumble, a fumble recovery, and an interception that kind of shut the game down, which is really awesome for him. He's a young man that redshirted, played our first year in some really tough moments, kind of thrust into play as a true freshman, and then he redshirted last year and, just seems to be coming into his own, so it's pretty exciting. Awesome win for us. I thought the team really did a nice job finishing that game out, and they're all hard. And I think that's one of those things where you got to learn when you're winning, and you got to find a way to finish games no matter what the circumstances are. I thought the players played extremely hard. I think we're getting close to playing with a certain level of effort that'll give us a chance to be in football games. I thought the effort by the defense was incredible. 6 turnovers in a game, I said in my press conference, is a unicorn, right? Like, that doesn't happen. And so I think our defensive staff has done a great job emphasizing turnovers. It's obviously been a big kind of mission statement for us as a team and as a program, but that also goes some credit to the offense, right? Being great with our ball security, making good decisions at the quarterback position with the ball. So we're excited about that one, and we've been on to Nevada, since Saturday. So we've shifted gears to get ready for this game on the road. This team has given us fits for years, and we have not won up there, since I was in 4th grade or something. I don't know how long it's been, but it's been forever. And so it's an incredible challenge for our team. They're a lot like us. They're 3-2. They had a big win over a Power 5 school. So this is going to be a heck of a battle on the road. And I'm excited to get to work with our team to start preparing for it.
The wide receiver diversification where Josh is spreading it out pretty good. Is that by design, or is that just because of the breadth and talent of receivers, or both? Or can you comment on that?
Yeah, I think, if you watch that game Friday night, actually, if you watch any of our games, I think Josh has done a fantastic job of distributing the football. I think Gundy, our quarterback coach, and Kevin McGivern have done a great job getting Josh to this place where he's seeing the field better. He's really comfortable. And then I credit Josh also, because Josh does the work required to make good decisions leading up to a game like that. I thought for Josh to get recognized as the, Mountain West Offensive Player of the Week, there's a lot of credit there that goes to the offensive line and the protection and the running backs and the protection. And even though our run game hasn't been what we'd like it to be, still running the ball enough to give ourselves a chance to throw the football effectively. So, I think it's pretty awesome to see all that stuff kind of come together. And I think Josh is just, he's playing with confidence, and he's seeing the field well, and he's throwing the ball very accurately, which is really what you want your quarterback to do.
So Nevada's coming off of their bye week, and when you guys came off your bye week, you took down Arkansas. So what do you look to take advantage of against a team like coming off their bye week?
Well, I think any team coming off their bye week is going to have a little bit of an advantage, and that is that they should be fresh. Anybody that got banged up in their last game against Hawaii has a chance to be healthier than they would be off a normal week. And then you always anticipate there being, coaches are creative and they got a great staff there. And so I'm sure there's going to be some sort of triple reverse pass, throw it back, hand it to the offensive lineman. There's always, you have that much time to prepare. You always start to draw some stuff on the board and, hey, what if we could do this? And so, we're expecting their best effort. Obviously, Coach Norvell's done a nice job since he's been there with that team. They've been really good. And like I mentioned, they're been a team that we've had extreme challenges with, over time. So this is going to be a big-time battle for us.
Coach, you mentioned the execution on defense and the unicorn game of turnovers you guys had on Friday. You guys are now the sole leaders in turnover margin in the NCAA. Considering you guys set a goal for your defense, being a top 25 in that category, what does it mean to really be executing at that level and to be where you guys are at right now?
I think it means that we're on the right path towards, doing the job we wanted to do in the turnover margin. I also know the reality is we have 7 games left, and there's a lot of football left to play. And so we have to continue to emphasize the things in the practice environment and in the meeting room that's given us a chance to get off to a good start in turnover margin.
Coach, how you doing today?
Good, how are you?
I was just hoping to get your general take on the Fair Pay to Play Act and what your thoughts on that.
General take.
Yeah.
This is a hot topic. Everyone's talking about this. It doesn't matter who you talk to. I was at my daughter's field hockey game last week, and I was getting chatted up about the same piece of legislature. I think it's good that we're having discussions about taking care of the young people that are playing the games we love and coach and appreciate. I think it's complicated. I think there's all kinds of things that people are going to have to figure out. So I think, the good thing is obviously the NCAA is going to have to do some real deep diving on this and figure out how it works. And that's what I don't know. How does it impact recruiting? How does it impact gender equity? How does it impact paying taxes? How does it impact, there's just Power 5, Group of 5, Division 3. There's so many layers to it. I don't know. But I think anytime that we're having a discussion, all this started with Ed O'Bannon. I was at UCLA with Ed. Ed was the man. God, he was good at basketball. Those were such fun times, those teams. And so, I don't know, and I hear everybody weighing in. I hear LeBron weighing in. And, is it different for a men's basketball player versus a men's golfer? I don't know. How does it impact women's basketball and, softball? So there's just so many layers to it. I think it's really complicated. And the good news is for y'all as writers, you're going to have a couple years of lots of stuff to write about because it's going to be really interesting how it all unwinds.
One of the obvious spots you had mentioned, I think in the summer, when we talked last, or the first times we talked about offensive line, defensive line playing. Just curious how you would grade them at this point in the season and where they are in their trajectory right now.
I think we've been really good at times, and I think we have not been good enough at times. And so I think that speaks to just our process of development and players continuing to practice and improve. I absolutely believe in our offensive line coach, Joe Bernardi, and our defensive line coach, Joe Samolo. And they're working their tails off to put the best product we can on the field. Even I'm really encouraged by some of the physicality and the effort I've seen from our defensive line, because that was one of those questions. We lost Boogie and Bryson last year. They're obviously huge impact players for us. And when you look out there at times outside of Silosi, everybody's a second-year player or younger. And those guys are fighting their tails off and doing some good stuff. And then the offensive line, right, I think everybody, including myself, would like us to be in a better position in terms of our run game. But I also know that at times we have run the ball effectively in games. And, our quarterback has been kept clean for the most part, and our sack totals are way down from a year ago. And so our offensive line's doing a good job. When you throw for 400 yards, like someone's got to protect that guy, right? And so those guys are doing a really nice job that way. So, and like I mentioned earlier, our running backs are a big part of that. I think they've done a nice job in pass protection. So I'm excited about both groups. I think we can improve, just like I think our team can improve. I think Josh Love can play better. I think everybody, when, you know, we're not even halfway through the season, my question to our team is, how much better can we get? How much more effort can we put into our practice environment? How much more effort can you put into the film room? Can you do extra? Can you find time when you're sitting at home in your dorm to watch 10 minutes of Nevada? So, you know, my thing for, you know, the O&D line, but just really the whole team is, like, what more can you do to help us have a chance to be a better team when we line up Saturday?
Coach, we talked about this a little bit after the game on Friday, kind of about the red zone offense, and you just brought up about the ability to run the ball. After having a weekend to kind of look over the tape and kind of evaluate where you guys were on Friday, how do you see your run game improving this week, and what areas do you hope to address that particular issue in practice this week?
Well, I think some of the stuff we got to consider as a staff is just, are we carrying too much in the run game? And so, you know, a big piece of that, you know, with New Mexico is there's a lot of movement there. And so are we carrying too much scheme for us to execute at the level we need to, especially when the field gets tight like that and gets short? So, and then the stakes go up too, right? Because you're in scoring position. So I think, you know, that's the ongoing conversation for us is, okay, you know, the running backs, you know, who's the best guy for that situation? You know, is it a big back? Is it a scat back? And then, you know, what can we do schematically that makes that really clean for us? Is that more of a conversation with Nick, right? Because he has that dynamic run aspect to him, as, you know, when he lines up at quarterback. So those are all things that we're kicking around, which I'm sure Nevada knows we're kicking around.
I spent some time talking to Coach Bernardi, and he was trying to help me visualize what goes on in there. It's pretty much impossible, but
You should sit in on a meeting.
I would love to. But it's so I was trying to ask what Josh sees. Like, he sees a 5-man front, a 6-man front, 7-man front. Can you, like, help me visualize what he might call or scheme in that sense when?
Well, you know, basically, you think of it in terms of how many protectors you have versus how many defenders are there, right? It's like it's just numbers, right? So if they look like they have potential to, from one side, to bring more guys than you can block, then you might slide the protection over there. You might send the extra guy over there. Or you might not release the back, or you might not release the tight end, right? So that you can keep, if they're going to bring 6, then you'd like to have 6 protectors, right? Or you have to throw hot, right, off of the one free player, right? So for Josh, in those situations, he's just identifying what the front is, what the potential danger is, and then what he can do with what he has in the call to protect himself or to get us in a better run. And so everything in football, offensive football, in pass protection and run game is based on numbers, right? How can we find a numbers advantage, right? That's why you see, you know, some people all of a sudden, you know, the last couple of years, Washington State's run the ball really well. People are like, what's going on? Mike Leach never ran the ball. Well, people are dropping 8 people in coverage every time. So now their 5 guys just have to block 3, and, you know, your running back is up on a linebacker. So it's the kind of the chess game of football.
Coach, obviously, and I know you can't go into detail about Ethan's injury, but, you know, we saw him on the sideline on Friday, you know, getting involved in the huddles and being still a leader for you guys on the field, even though he didn't have the pads on. What does he bring in that regard of his game, as far as, like, being you know, emotional and a you know, spiritual leader for this sort of group?
He, you know, I think it's really neat because I think everyone really respects Ethan's story, the whole walk-on, long snapper, wide receiver. And then he's like one of the best defensive players, you know, in the conference, right? So he's really earned that kind of spot with the team. And I thought it was great that he was so involved on Friday because it was a tough game. They're all tough. They're all hard. Everyone's good. Look at our conference. Everyone's good. And so when he's not available, it's great to have him involved, talking to the linebackers, right? When you look out there, we have redshirt sophomore. We got a true freshman, true sophomore. Like, we got some young guys in the mix, right? So, having his stability, having his voice, that consistency is really helpful with those guys.
Coach Bernardi again. Seems obviously pretty intense, pretty passionate, and then you look at the games. He's pretty reserved during the games. I mean, so can you just comment on him in general? I guess from.
It's funny. I've known Joe for a long time. His dad was the tight ends coach when I was playing at UCLA. So Joe was just like a little guy, running around practice, getting in trouble. But I think most coaches you'll find on game day, by then the work is done in terms of the kind of the fire and brimstone, right? Like, by then you're trying to figure out what's going well, what's not, what the problems are, and you have to communicate effectively. And I think that's what you see Joe doing on game day, on the sidelines, right? Like, for all of us, I think it's really important that whether it looks good or looks bad, that we just remain positive, like play the next play. I think that's one of those really hard things. I think that's a hard thing for this generation more than anyone I've coached, is when they do have a setback, like how quickly can they respond emotionally from that. I blame it all on the phone, but like that, their lives aren't, there's very little criticism in their lives, right? Because everything on social media is all the good stuff, right? Like, no one posts about getting dumped by their girlfriend on Facebook. You know what I mean? It's all like, hey, look how much fun I'm having. Look how nice I look. Look at my new car. It's all that positive. So I think as we're working with these young people, right, trying to help them understand it's football, and no one wins 100% of the time when they line up in football. It doesn't matter who you are. Like Jerry Rice, like the best players of all time still get beat. And so how do you respond from getting beat? And that's a big mantra for us, is play the next play. If it went really well, great, play the next play. If it was not good, play the next play. Because we can survive a mistake or a dip in performance for one play, but when you stack those bad plays, it becomes a disaster. And so something bad happens, play the next play. Lock in, play the next play. And I think most of our coaching staff do. I think we really do try and focus on that and do a good job of that.
Coach, I'm working on a story right now, kind of about how teams, San Jose State, kind of help their players address mental health issues.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I've been looking at is obviously there's some professional sports teams that have introduced emotional support animals to their teams. I'm sure you heard something about the 49ers have done this, and recently the San Jose Sharks have been looking into this as well. I'm wondering, for one, what do you guys do as a team to kind of address those issues of mental health? Obviously, college students are some of those impacted people by this issue. And is that something you guys have considered, the emotional support animals?
That is awesome. I would love a emotional support dog in this building. That would be fantastic. So our athletics director's here, so maybe I could run it by her when the meeting's over. I think that would be so cool. I think the team would love that. But I think obviously that's a growing issue in America, right? Like, that's not just a San Jose State issue. That's a societal and a campus-wide issue at every campus you go to. Every head coach I talk to, doesn't matter where they are, East Coast, South, West Coast, Power 5, doesn't matter. Everyone is talking about what you're doing for mental health of your team. And, a lot of that for us falls on our relationship with campus. And we have great people there that are really involved in our process that way. And I think there's also a big conversation happening in our athletic department about, at some point, getting to a place where we bring somebody in that is working with us with all sports, not just football, all sports. And so there's a lot of discussion going on about that everywhere. And it's, I think the great thing about it is I think there is a much more, it's lost some of the stigma. And so there is a lot more awareness and comfort in talking about, the challenging issue of mental health. And so I'm encouraged with where we're headed.
The biggest challenge will be up against Nevada this week from their side, and how you guys will stack up against that?
I think there's multiple. Right? I think they got a young quarterback who's a really good player, and then they have their other quarterbacks are both good, and they're a little bit different. So they present kind of a wide variety of challenges that way. They're good at receiver. Their running back is very, very good, very hard runner, physical runner. So I think those will be some of the challenges that we're going to have going into this one. You know, since I've been here, we haven't won a Mountain West game on the road. And so I think that's the big challenge, at least in my mind. Like, you know, okay, how do we to take the next step is finding a way to play well on the road. And we haven't done that well enough yet. And so I'm excited to kind of see how the players handle that, the travel, being up there, playing, going through it. You know, and then defensively, they got a really good group. I think the defensive line for them, they've got two really good players there that are extremely disruptive. They move well, they're sudden. Got a couple players in the secondary that are leading their team in tackles and get their hands on football. So, you know, I feel like a little bit like last week in terms of some similarities between us and them. You know, 3-2 teams have played really well at times, have not played well enough at times. And so, you know, what's this going to be Friday night? They've had a bye. They're going to be healthier. They're going to be fresher, all those things. And so what do we got to do to get our team ready to go up there and play our best football? Thank you all.
All right, before we let you go, a great Lawrence fan reminded me of another note this week from Josh Love's performance. He was named to the Davey O'Brien Award Great 8, which recognizes the top 8 quarterback performances in the week of FBS football. So another great accolade for Josh Love. That does it for this week's press conference. There are great tickets available for the 3 remaining home games inside Steph Q Stadium, 408-924-7589 or sjsuspartans.com. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.